Hey there, Stampers. Happy Friday and welcome to another Facebook Live. I'm just going to give it a minute for people to log in, and I'm going to pull up my live so that I can see comments. Be sure to say hi as you pop in, or if you're watching the replay. I always like to see who is watching. Okay. Let's see here. Here we go. Turn the sound down. All right. Okay, just like normal, or just like every week. Okay, actually, let me introduce myself first, because I know every week I have new watchers, or new viewers. My name is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Sherwood Park, Alberta, and I come live on Facebook at 11 a.m. on Fridays, Mountain Time, to create something for you or with you. So every week you have the opportunity to win last week's project. Good morning, Amy. And this was what we created last week. I created a last minute Mother's Day card. So I know it's a little bit late for Mother's Day for this year, but you could save it and give it to somebody special next year. All right, so the way that you get entered to win is by commenting on my Facebook Lives, whether it's live or the replay. Or on YouTube, because I always upload them to YouTube. Every comment or question gets you one entry. Good morning, Donna. And if you share the video, you get 5 entries. All right, so I've got everybody's name in here. There were lots of comments and shares last week, so lots of names in here. And the lucky winner is Shauna, and I will see her in class this week, so I will set that aside for her. Okay, so now, even though I just mentioned that you can win the project that I create the previous week, it's a little bit different this week, because the project that I'm creating is a little bit more elaborate, and I'm not sure how well it would pop in the mail. And because I offer this worldwide, postage could be a little expensive depending on where I'm mailing it to. So the winner next week will actually win something that I posted on my blog on Wednesday. So there's instructions on how to make this, and it's made from a 6x6 piece of DSP, which we are also using today. So I'm gonna share a little bit more about that in a minute. But if you wanna see how I created this, if you check my Wednesday post this week, there's a video that shows you how to create that. So there's a little tea bag in there, and then on this side, it's got a little pocket with a tag. So the winner next week will win this project instead of what I'm making this week. All right, so I'm gonna flip the camera around and we will go ahead and get started. All right. Okay, all right, let's see here. Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but I was looking at my stack of 6x6 patterned paper, and I have a ton of it. Oh, thanks, Amy. I actually go to, Amy's asking who my hairdresser is. Her name is Crystal. I think her last name is Decker, and she runs it from her home. She has been cutting my hair since before I had Jordan, and Jordan's the only hairstylist she's the only person that has ever cut Jordan's hair, and Jordan is 20. So I've been going to the same lady for years and years and years. I've been following her around from studio to studio, and she ended up having 3 kids and decided to start a practice from her home, or a little salon from her home. She works 3 days a week. She's hard to get in to see, but I absolutely love her, and she's here in Sherwood Park. If you're interested, Amy, just let me know. Just send me a message and I can send you her information. Okay, so I was looking at my stack of 6x6 patterned paper, and I have an overwhelming amount of patterned paper, and all of this is retiring at the end of the month. And because I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I pretty much only use what is current. So I need to try to use up some of it. So I've been trying to kind of come up with some different ideas on how to use up some of my 6x6 paper. So today's project actually uses 6 pieces of 6x6 DSP. So I can't wait to share it with you. Okay, so I'm gonna set this aside. This is the paper pack that we are going to use today. So it's the Tropical Escape 6x6 pattern paper. But I'm gonna show you the project in a different patterned paper, and then we're gonna create it with this one. Okay, so you ready to see what we're gonna make? I shared this on a video. I can't remember, I think it was last week I shared it. It's using the Everything is Rosy suite. It's a little 6x6 mini album. And I love how it turned out. This DSP, seriously, everybody needs this pattern paper. It is so beautiful. I just can't get enough of it. And it's so easy to use. And I am not a pink person. There is a lot of pink in here, and I don't know, I just can't get enough of it. But anyways, so initially I didn't have a cover on it when I shared, or the cover wasn't decorated when I shared it last week because I really wasn't sure how I was going to use it. But after giving it some thought, I decided that I would use it as a gratitude journal. I thought it would be the perfect little gratitude journal. So I used a stamp from the Country Home stamp set, and it says, "Simply thankful for all the good things." And I just stamped that on the front and then cut it. You'll see it because I'm going to do this on the one that I make as well. But I kept it really simple. And then on the inside, there are 3 little tags. And there's so many different things that you could do with this. You could add tip-ins, you can add photos in here, you can add flip-ups. Like, you could do so many different things. So you can see that I use the Everything is Rosy medley. And here's a little pocket with a 3x3 card inside. So all of these pages lend themselves to adding a little bit of journaling or even some photos on what you are grateful for. So these were just some scraps that I had sitting on my table. And then here's another spot for a photo. So I'm gonna show you how to make this. It's really, really simple. Okay. Oh, I'm happy that you're happy that I'm sharing, Amy. Actually, I was reminded last night I had a class. It was a scrapbook class. Okay, this crookedness is bothering me. And one of the ladies there, she reminded me that I said I would share how to make this because I hadn't decided what I was gonna do. So she goes, well, why don't you do that 6x6 album? So I thought, okay, let's do that. All right, so what you're gonna need for this is you are going to need 6 sheets of patterned paper. You could use cardstock as well, but I've chosen 6 pieces from the Tropical Escape DSP pack. And now I'm not necessarily gonna do this exactly the same as I have on the one that, yes, it is an awesome gift, isn't it, Lisa? I'm not necessarily gonna do it exactly the same. So I'm gonna kind of explain my creative process as well as I go. So before we get started, the first thing, if I'm using DSP, I'll pull out the DSP that I want to use. And then what do I do next? I'll pull out some of the coordinating cardstock. So this one coordinates with Basic Black, Blushing Bride, Granny Apple Green, Shaded Spruce, and Whisper White. So I pulled out the 2 greens and the pink because those will probably be the colors that I use most often. I likely won't include a ton of black in this just because there's very little black in this DSP. There's the odd little speckle here, and I think there's one pattern. Yeah, there's stripes on this one, and there's some dots on this one, so I won't use a ton of black. And then I'll pull out the coordinating ink colors, and then I pull out, if there's a stamp set that coordinates, I will pull that out as well. But just because there's a paper pack doesn't mean you have to use the stamp set that coordinates. You can use whatever. And then the other thing that I'll do is, if I have leftover bits and pieces left from another project, I will keep them in a little Ziploc baggie in the stamp set. So if they're leftover framelits or they're leftover stamped images, I keep them in a little baggie. So I'll pull that baggie out as well, because if I can use those on a project, then it just saves a little bit of time. Okay, so that's kind of what I do initially, okay, let's move this stuff out of the way. And then, yeah, I'll kind of explain the rest as we go along. Okay, so what we are gonna do to create the base of our album is we are going to take our 6x6 patterned paper, and we are going to use our trimmer, and we're going to score. So there's no cutting, you just need to score. And we are scoring at, okay, first of all, you need to look at the DSP and see if it's directional, okay? So this is, well, I guess not necessarily. You could use your leaves like this, but I like the way they look like this. So, whereas this pattern, it doesn't matter which way it go, it'll go either direction. So, if it's directional, you want to have it like this to be the bottom and this to be the top, okay? So I'm gonna flip it over, and I am going to score it at 4.5. And remember, if you are using DSP, you want to not push as hard as you do on cardstock. So I like to do it very gently, but go multiple times. So I'm scoring it at 4.5 and 4 3/4. If you push too hard, you'll end up tearing your DSP. Okay, and you're gonna do that for all 6 pieces. So I've already gone ahead and done that so that you don't have to watch me do that. And then I'm gonna fold along both of the score lines. I'm gonna use my bone folder so it's nice and crisp. Now, I can't take credit for this idea. I actually saw it online. It wasn't from another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. It was from somebody else. I happened to just Google 6x6 patterned paper ideas on YouTube, or search on YouTube. And this was one of the ideas that came up. And I forgot to jot down the name. So, oh, you're having problems? It keeps freezing? I know my screen keeps going blurry. I hope it's okay. Okay, so then you're gonna fold along the score lines so that it looks something like this. So this is going to be the spine of your album. Okay, so I decided that this is the, no. And then what you wanna do, sorry. What you wanna do is you're gonna take your patterns and you're gonna decide what you want as your cover. So I want my cover to be this striped one, and I want my back to be this one, okay? So I'm gonna do it like this, but I wanna add something in there. So we're gonna set that aside. And you wanna go through your pairs. Okay, this one I've already done. You wanna go through and pair them up. So let's see here. This has some pink, a little bit of pink on it. Do I want it like that? What does it look like on the inside? So I kind of play around with the patterns. I do like how that looks. Okay, all right. So I'm happy with the way that looks. And then on this one, I've already assembled this one, and I'll show you how to assemble them. So I've already gone ahead and put in some of these, and you'll notice that this is cardstock, so I'll explain how I did that in a minute, okay? So first of all, let's go with our cover. And what I want to do is I want to add a little something in between here before I start assembling, because I don't necessarily, I want there to be a little bit of a break from this floral pattern to this stripe pattern. So what I've gone ahead and done is, because I'm loving this Everything is Rosy suite, I've gone ahead and pre-cut this border. I tell you, this frameless set is worth it for this border and these 2 images alone. I love it. So I've gone ahead and cut it from Shaded Spruce, and I'm just going to take my snips, because it's a 6-inch length, and I'm just gonna snip this. And then pop it out. Isn't that pretty? And that is going to be what separates. I probably could have left a little bit more of a border, but that's gonna separate the 2. So let's add adhesive to the back of this piece here. And then I'm going to stick this on here. Okay, it does keep blurring in and out. I wonder if it's my Wi-Fi connection, which is odd because there's nobody home. No, I'm not competing with anybody. Okay, so I've added that on there. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add adhesive to this piece here, so this strip, and then this center score line, and then I'm gonna attach that to there, okay? So this is how you kind of create your little inserts. Well, this is gonna be your cover and your front and your back cover, but then each one of these inserts you're gonna do the same way. Okay, so you're just going to line these score lines up, and I find this is the easiest way to do that, is just fold this piece up and line it up with that score line. I'm trying to do it so you guys can see, which makes it a little bit more challenging. Okay, I think that's good. All right, and then I'll fold this flat and just apply pressure here. So this is our front and back cover, okay? That's what it looks like. Now this piece, you can choose to add adhesive here and fold it down. You can choose to add adhesive just here and create a little pocket so things can slide in, or you can choose to leave it like a flap. So on this one, what I did was I chose to leave it as a flap, and then I added a piece of cardstock in here. So you can really do any number of things. Maybe for this one is I will do it like a pocket. Let's do that. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of adhesive on either end, so whatever I choose to put in the pocket doesn't fall out. Okay, so now something can tuck in here. All right, so that's our front and back cover. And then this is one of the insert pages. Oh, why did that look like that? And then, so this is gonna go in like this, like that. But let's assemble our last one here. Okay, so yeah, I decided that I wanted it like this. So for this one, what I'm gonna do, for this one, I want this to be a flap because I don't completely love the look of the pink on here. So this will allow me to put something in between. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to add adhesive to here and to the spine. And don't worry if you don't get too much along the spine. You can, we're going to bind it with some ribbon, so that will hold it in place. Okay, so now I'm turning this around and I'm lining it up with the score line. That way the score line is on the right side for me to see. This will be much easier than the last time I did it. Okay, and then I'll pop that down. Okay, so then I've got my flap that I can do whatever I want with. Let's just put a little bit more pressure on that seam for that spine. Okay, so now we've got our 3 little booklets. So we are going to go ahead and stick them together. So what I did was I forgot to pull it out, let me grab it. I used some tear and tape. You can just hold them together and bind them using your crocodile and some ribbon, but I really wanted them to make sure that they would stick together, so I used a strip of tear and tape right down that center score line. So right down here, and then just trim that off. And then to make sure that this sticks really well, use your bone folder and just give it a good burnish. And then peel off the backing. Yes, I will upload it to YouTube, Amy. Hopefully the upload will be a little bit better. Are you guys still having problems? Okay, so now I am going to, now do I want this one in first? You want to figure out what order you want them all in. So I'm having a look. Okay, I want to do this one first. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to take this and I'm going to line it up with that score line. Okay, it's really difficult to see on this white. Okay, I think that's good. And then I'm just going to use my bone folder and really apply a fair bit of pressure on here to make sure that that sticks. And then I'll fold it. Because you're adding layers, you're adding bulk to it. You want to refold. Don't worry about that, we'll fix that afterwards. So you'll notice that some of this will stick out the side, but we can fix that. Okay, so now we're gonna add our last insert. So again, we're gonna put some tear and tape right down the center. Give it a little trim. Use your bone folder to really transfer that tape to the patterned paper so that it sticks nicely. And then we're just going to, I like to kind of refold before I stick anything in. And then we're going to slide this in. Just like that. And again, open it up. Give it a burnish. And then refold. So you get that nice spine. I've got a little bit of bulk here. I think one of my pieces went a little wonky. Okay, so now all of these layers that kind of stick out, we're gonna fix that. I like to use this old paper cutter from Stampin' Up! And I will put it. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll line it up here, and I'm gonna line it up with the cover, and I'm gonna snip off all of those extra pieces. You can use scissors as well, but that just cleans up all of that extra bulk. Okay? All right, so now to do the spine, what we're gonna do is grab our crocodile. You can use another paper punch as well. Like this one, this is just a regular 1/8 punch. That would probably work. It might be a bit difficult to go through all of these layers. So I found the crocodile worked really well. I'm going to use I'm gonna use the small one, and I'm going to slide it all the way in. So I'm gonna open it up and slide it all the way in. This is where the hole punch is. This is the smaller of the two sizes on this crocodile, and I'm going to punch. I love that paper cutter as well, Shauna. And then I'm going to rotate it and do the exact same thing. So slide it in where the spine is. And punch. All right. Shauna, you were a bit late for joining us. You won the project from last week. So I'll give it to you when you come this week for class. All right, so I've got my 2 holes here, and I am using some 1/8 inch Whisper White ribbon, and I'm going to feed it through the holes. So I'll feed it through the one. Oh my gosh, that was not in the center at all. Okay, and then I'll tie a bow. I know I would love for them to bring that cutter or a version of that cutter out again, Amy. Mine is so worn. I mean, I love that you never have to replace the blade. That's great because I use it all the time. But I found that because I use it to cut lots of different things, I find that I have to use it a certain way in order for it to cut long pieces straight. I think it's a little bit warped. It's definitely a well-loved paper trimmer. All right, so I'm just tying a bow. I'll trim these ends just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now the base of our album is done. So now we can start to decorate. So here, we open it up. So we've got this flap. Again, you can choose to add adhesive here and here to create a pocket, or we can add an insert. So I think I'm going to add an insert. Yeah, so I'm gonna add this piece. This shaded spruce measures 4.5 by 6 inches. So I'm going to add adhesive right here and then add my insert. And I don't need to create a pocket. I don't want to create a pocket for this particular one. So I'm just going to add adhesive all the way along, line it right up with the seam. And then just apply the pressure. And again, if it sticks over, I can do that trimming again so you can see that it's a little bit, sticks a little bit down. So I can trim that again, but I'll do that afterwards. Okay, I'm happy with the way that looks. I like that. I like that. That's good. And then this was a little pocket. Was it this one that was a pocket? Which one was a pocket? Did I use the pocket? What happened? Where's my pocket? Oh, here it is. Okay, so the pocket, you could add a little tag inside, you could add lots of different things. But I have this one for a photo that I thought would be cute to add. So this measures, the white piece is 3 by 5, and the shaded spruce layer is 2.5, or not 2.5, it's 3.5. No, sorry, I got this wrong. This is 3.5 by 5, is that what I said? And then the color, the shaded spruce, measures 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. So let's figure out where I want to put this. I think we're going to put it here because then that will tie in the shaded spruce with the shaded spruce on this side. So I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive here and stick it in the center. So I've got a nice even border all the way around. So that's perfect for a photo, or if you're using this as a gratitude journal, then you can add some journaling as well. So you could put the date at the top and then what you're thankful for that day. Shelly says, oh, she says it would make a perfect baby album. Yes, you're right. It would make a great baby album. I never thought of that. That would make a wonderful baby album. Even this pattern would work too. And it's kind of, well, I guess it does have some pink in it. So I was gonna say it's kind of gender neutral. Okay, so what else do we wanna do? All right, so in the other one, I had a little pocket with some tags in it. So we can do that. Let me just stick that down. Let's put the pocket. I wonder if the tags would fit. I'm just gonna try tucking them in the back here and just see how they look. I want to make sure that they don't fall out. It's okay. I don't love it though. So let's do a different pocket. Maybe we can do a pocket along the bottom here. Actually, no, let's pretty this one up. This is really plain. So let's see. I'm going to go to my scraps because I used full 6 by 6 paper, right? So I don't have any scraps left from what I cut today. Okay, I don't want to use that one. So I want to find something that looks good with that. That leaves are going the wrong way. That's not big enough. I always go to my scraps first and see what I've got that I could use. This one might be good. That's the one. Okay. So let's get those out of the way. So for this one, because I want to create a pocket, I am just going to add adhesive on the side, the bottom, and this side. So I'm going to grab my Tombow so that I can make my pocket as big as it can be. And add it across there. I'm just using this as a guide to figure out how far I need to go. And then I'll go up. And then I'm just going to tuck this right here, lining it up with the edge of the Granny Apple Green cardstock. And I'm going to give that a minute. I hope I put that down. Yeah, I did put it down the right way. I'll give that just a minute to set, and then I'll trim that off. I always like to put it on while it's long and then trim afterwards so that it's not too short. Okay, so I showed you these two tags. Now I'm going to make one other tag. I'm going to use the pink this time. So let me give you the measurements for the tags in case you want to recreate this. This piece measures 1 7/8 by 3 1/2. This piece of shaded spruce measures 2 1/2 by 4 1/2. And this Whisper White measures 3 by 5. Amy asks, what does everyone do with the tag? That's the one thing I never know how to use in an album. Okay, well, because I'm using this as a gratitude album, I could do what I'm grateful for. I can date it at the top and add what I'm grateful for that day. I can use both sides because they're pretty on both sides. So you could definitely do that. You could add photos on there. You could add journaling. If you're using this as a baby album, you could tuck a little picture. Or what you can do is they don't necessarily have to stay in the pocket. You can attach them here and then just put a little picture and have the tag tucked in behind and then do your journaling on there. You could even make it just a whole bigger photo. You could even make a photo into a tag and tuck it into a pocket and then do your journaling on the back. So there's lots of different options that you can do with your tags. Okay, so I've got my piece of Blushing Bride cardstock and I'm just going to angle cut the corner. And I think you guys have seen me you do this before where I use what I've just cut and then I turn it over or flip it over, and on the other side I will cut the corner, and that gives us even corners on both sides. Okay, so now I'm going to do a 1/2 inch circle punch, and let's use some DSP. Let's tie in all of the colors. So we are going to use this little scrap that I had sitting there. And we will add just a little bit of adhesive to it and tuck it on there. And then I'm going to use my 1/8 inch circle punch, punch a hole. And for this one, we are going to add some shaded spruce ribbon. So I pulled out, that's the other thing that I did when I went to work with this paper pack. When I pulled out the coordinating colors, I also pulled out any kind of coordinating embellishments. So I had this ribbon that would coordinate. I've got some other little things that I pulled out that I'll show you in a minute that I thought might be nice to be included because they go along with this suite. Okay, so I'm just going to feed it through, and then I'm going to use some white baker's twine. Just wrap it around and tie a bow. So what does everybody have planned for this weekend? It's a long weekend. I'm excited. Okay, so I'm tying a bow here. Do we have any campers watching? Is anybody going camping? All right, so I've got my bow, trim this excess ribbon or twine off. And then tweak my bows a little, make them the size that I want them. Okay, so let's move these out of the way. We're gonna go back and we're gonna trim this off. And then we've got a little pocket for our tags. So you can use these all in the same pocket, or you can just use them to store them, and then take them out as needed. Doesn't that add a ton to just that simple little layout, just adding that pocket and then the 3 different colors of tags? Okay, so let's go back to the front and finish decorating the front here. Okay, so let's see here. Find my things. Okay, so the other thing that I did, I don't always do this, but I did this just to kind of speed this video up a little bit, is well, first of all, I pulled out, like I said, I pulled out those little embellishments that coordinate. So these coordinate with this suite of products. So I pulled those out because I thought they would be really cute to add into the album. And then this I pre-did. That's for the cover. And I went ahead and stamped some of these images and pre-cut them just so you guys wouldn't have to watch me do that. So it helps to have a few things all done. And so these were left over from my little Ziploc baggie that had been done previously. So I've got all these things to choose from to decorate my album. And of course I can stamp some more as well. But I've pre-cut this little rectangle because I do want to do the same thing on the cover for this album. So I loved how this looked, and the greeting is just perfect for it. So I've gone ahead and I've pre-cut the thankful, but I'm going to stamp the rest of the greeting. Hey Kathy, how are you today? So I'm going to use Shaded Spruce. And I'm going to stamp it. I need to stand up for this, make sure it's straight. Stamp it in the center of my rectangle. All right. And then I'm going to use some mini dimensionals on the back of my thankful. So I've gone ahead and I've stamped this in Granny Apple Green on some Whisper White, and then I fussy cut around it. I just love the look of anything that's kind of scripty, fussy cut. Amy asked if she could hire me to do her fussy cutting. I do not mind fussy cutting, but I don't know that I would ever do that. I don't think anybody could ever pay me to do it. I don't love it that much. I do love the look of it though. So I'm just using the borders of my mini dimensionals and just cutting narrow strips that I can kind of pop on some of these longer letters. And then I'll peel off the backing and add it to my greeting. Just like that. Isn't that cute? Oh, I'm gonna miss this paper. This is one of the papers that's retiring. I don't know. We've got some gorgeous papers that are no longer gonna be available. Makes me sad. Okay, so I'm gonna use some dimensionals. Actually, we'll put one in the middle too. And this is gonna go on the front of our album. Just like that. So we could add, oh, I like that. So I'm gonna add a little flower. I'm just gonna give it a bit of dimension. Actually, you know what it needs? It needs some Wink of Stella. Where's my Wink of Stella? Let's add a bit of shimmer. Amy says she's going to miss a lot of this past year's DSP. Yes, it was an amazing year for DSP. So I'm just using the Wink of Stella to just color on where the stamped image is, just to give it a bit of sparkle. so much easier to use this than glitter. Glitter does have a time and a place, but I love the no mess with the Wink of Stella. All right, let's pop this up using dimensionals. Look how pretty that is. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, this is bugging me. I gotta trim that. Okay, so I'm gonna slide this in. Actually, let's do just, nope, that's not gonna work. It's gotta be closed. Okay, we gotta make sure that everything is out of the way because I don't wanna cut anything that's not meant to be cut. So the shaded spruce layer that I added is just sticking out just a bit too far, so I want to trim that off. Trying to get this lined up so that I don't cut too much extra of anything else off. Okay, that's better. So now I don't have that little bit of shaded spruce sticking out. Okay, so let's move this. Oh my gosh, my desk is a mess. Okay, so we've got that. We could add a couple leaves in here. So let's curl this up. And you gotta make it pretty, right? Do I wanna do it in that corner? Or in this corner? That might get in the way in the spine. Let's do it there. Okay, so I'm going to use just a little bit of fast fuse. I'm gonna make sure that it's not sticking over the edge, so it's not sticking out on the outside of the album. I'll add that, and then I'm gonna use a little baker's twine, or not baker's twine, linen thread bow. Where's my linen thread? Just bear with me for a minute. I'm just gonna grab my linen thread here. Okay. So let's add a little bow. That's the great thing about a replay. Kristen, you can always catch up if you missed, if you're joining in late, you can always watch the replay. So we're making this cute little 6x6 album. So this is the one that I shared the other day. And so we're recreating it with some different 6x6 DSP. So if you've got lots of DSP left that is 6x6, this uses 6 sheets of patterned paper. So it's a great way to use up some of that patterned paper. So we've created the album base, and now I'm just going through and kind of decorating or adding a few little embellishments kind of throughout the album. All right, so that's cute. This, I don't know why this piece will not, there's not enough adhesive on that. You know what, let's add a few glue dots here and see if that helps. There's always a way to fix something, right? Oh, you know why? It's because this one I just used a little bit of fast fuse on that flap. I didn't use the tear and tape on the spine of this one. Okay, that might help. Let's give this a little push here. Okay, all right, so we've got that page. I think I might just leave that blank. This one was for our tags, so we've got all our tags here. And for those of you who are joining in late, I have all the measurements. I provided all the measurements for the tags and everything. Okay, and we've got the center. This one could use a little something. Let's put maybe a couple flowers. Let's see what we can do to bring a little bit more color into this one. So what would you guys use this album for? Like I said, I suggested maybe a gratitude album. Oh, maybe we could add actually. Oh, it's a bit too small. Hey, Beth. Nope, that's too much pink. Don't like it. Okay, we'll leave that. Let's try that on this page. That's better, hey? Okay, so let's add some adhesive to these. Should I add Wink of Stella to these flowers as well, or just leave that one for the Wink of Stella for the cover? Well, let's put this way. Is the recording a little bit better? Did it get better as we went through? Okay, I'm gonna do one flat and one popped up. Yeah, these will make perfect gifts. Can you imagine with Christmas, like with a Christmas themed paper? It would be so cute with a Christmas themed paper. Still blurry on and off and freezing. I might have to have, you know, I've been having Wi-Fi problems lately. I might have to call Shaw and figure out what's going on. All right, so we've got that. I feel like this needs another leaf tucked in here. Let's try the darker one maybe. Yeah, I need that tucked in. Let's cut this off. So this is kind of how I create. I just kind of play around with things, try to figure out what I like, what is working and what isn't. Okay. And then we have this pocket. We need something for in the pocket. Any ideas? What should we put in the pocket? Should I just do another like photo mat maybe? And the photo can tuck out or be pulled out? We could do a pink mat or green. Okay, let's do that. Let's cut it. Need my paper cutter. Okay, we'll do, let's do it 3.5 inches by 5. Amy suggested another 3x3 card and pocket. Yeah, I could do that. I could add one of those in there. So that was 3.5 by 5. So 3.25 by 4 3/4. And okay, we'll do that. And then let's stamp a flower on this one. So pull in the Blushing Bride. Because that way it will pull in the pink that's on the other side. So stamp that down. Just one single flower. Add this to the green. Yes, you could definitely fold that in half and tuck it in for pictures. So I could mat this and stick it on top, but you could do that. You could even do another one, maybe that's a little bit smaller. Let's do one, so you could tuck a couple in there. I don't want to use the pink. Let's use the shaded spruce. This could be for a smaller photo. Pull in the paper cutter again. Too late. But that's a good idea for the next time I create it, Amy. Okay, so 2.5. Let's make it 2.5 by 3.5. and 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. So this, you could use this for a little bit of journaling, or you could even use it for another little photo and tuck it into the pocket. You could even put just loose photos in that pocket. So any extra photos that you have, if you're doing it for an event, to document an event, you could tuck that in there. You could add some journaling cards in there. There we go. Let's see. Let's put a leaf on this one. That leaf is too big. What's in the stamp set? Oh, all the leaves are pretty big. This one's a little bit smaller. We could do that one. Let's stamp one of those. This video could go on forever and ever. I could just keep, oh, I got it on a block rig. I could just keep putzing. Okay, so I want it in the dark, or do I want it in the light? No, I want it in the light. So I'm gonna do Granny Apple Green with this one. Oh, thanks, Shauna. Memory keeping is my passion, so this is where I love to, this seriously could get over the top, but I will stop after this. Okay, oh, you know what we could do? We could use these. We could do a little flower on that. Let's do this instead. Wouldn't that be cute up the top like this? We're doing this instead. Okay, I'll use that leaf for something else. Mini glue dots, where are they? So these are the little embellishments that coordinate with this suite. So I'm just going to stick that at the top, add a little leaf, and another little leaf. You could pull up memories and more card packs to add to the album. Yes, her mind is going a mile a minute. That's right, Amy. The sky's the limit, really. There's so many options that you could do with this. There, look at that. Isn't that cute? All right, I think I'm done. I could keep going, but I think I'm gonna stop. Okay, so let's have a look. We'll do a quick flip through from this one and a quick flip through from the first one so you guys can see. Make some space here. Okay. Oh, I love the cover. So kept it really simple. We've got just a couple little leaves there. It sure adds with the leaves though. I think I need to go back and embellish the other one. So this is pretty simple. Again, another simple page. But again, you could add I could add a little leaf here. Oh, I gotta stop though. This video will go on forever and ever. There's another simple page, and then we've got our tags that are our little photo mats that come out. And again, you could, once you decide what's on there, you could turn around and you could stick this on this page, or you could put this on this page, or you can just leave them tucked in there. So many options. Okay, so that's that one. And then let's go back for those of you who maybe joined in late and missed the first flip through. So this is the Everything is Rosy. Seriously, love this paper. And this was just an extra piece that I had sitting on my desk. So I cut it and used that as a pocket. And then we've got our photo mat. I've got to go back and add something to that because that sure makes a big difference. So this could be used for a photo or some journaling. This is such beautiful paper. And then here I had a little envelope with a 3x3 card tucked in. So that's what Amy had mentioned adding. So this one you can see that I had a flap here and I cut, instead of a full piece, I cut a smaller piece. So you can do that. So I see a little bit of the pink around the edges. And there we go. So which one do you guys like better? I mean, they're both very different. I think they're both beautiful. All right, so thanks so much for watching. I would love to see, if you guys create one, send me a message. I'd love to see it, or post it on my page. I'd love to see what you guys create with this idea. Have a great weekend. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a chance to get creative. Bye for now.